Y'all safe back in here on that episode of Indigo Podcast. And today I got my cousin, got a special guest, Queen. Say hello.
Hey, what's up, y'all?
Yeah, she actually had me on her radio show a while ago, so I'm kind of returning the favor. I gotta have her on my podcast, return the favor a bit. But
Good.
just to start it off, like how's life been recently? Because we haven't like really talked like face to face in a while.
Yeah, life is interesting, right? I recently graduated from U of H. Go Cougs, go Cougs.
Turn up, turn up.
Um, yeah, I got my master's in communications, and right now I feel like I've been doing like 1,000 side quests, right?
Yeah,
Like I'm doing some freelance work. I'm doing an internship that's like social media, content creation. I'm helping, well, in the freelance work, I'm helping smaller brands, and still searching, searching for that gig that really like I'm really feeling it.
for sure, for
Um,
sure.
and then all of that aside, I have been in the gym nonstop. That is literally like my livelihood. By the time this is released, I'll be done with 75 hard for my second time.
Swag. We actually
Um,
gonna get into that, so a little foreshadowing.
yeah, yeah, a little foreshadowing. But yeah, other than that, those are some of the things keeping me active day to day, and then just spending time with my family per usual, and hopping on my cousin's podcast every now and then. Another little side quest I
Yeah,
didn't
we
think would
we
happen.
we gonna have you back on here. Don't worry. This Mando. But speaking of 75 Day Hard, that kind of segues into the first part. I promise you, this is accidental. She doesn't know the script. First thing, it's just going over your health and fitness journey. Like, so first thing I want to ask about is like, what piqued your interest with health and fitness exactly? Like, what was it that drew you in?
Okay. Some queen lore. I just my whole life I've been a student athlete.
Yeah,
So when you're raised on that and you come from a family of athletes, whether you want to acknowledge it or not, it's always going to be ingrained in you. Like
exactly.
so that's pretty much the beginning on why I gravitate towards just being active and stuff. Because it was kind of like forced upon me from a young age. But then afterwards, I realized, wait, I kind of need that. Like I
Yeah,
kind of need it. Like
exactly.
I need it to survive. I need to be healthy. I need to be fit. It helps my mental so much. And now I'm realizing I'm dependent on prioritizing my health. Otherwise, I just wouldn't be who I am now. So yeah, a long story short, that's pretty much the whole gist of it.
Yeah, I agree. If I'd like, because I took a week off after the half marathon, obviously, because I just did a whole 5+ month prep on it. But yeah, like I'm the same way. Like if I don't train, that doesn't even happen because I don't let it get to that point. But like yesterday, I was sick, so I took the day off. It felt weird. So I kind of I
Yeah,
get what you're saying.
yeah, dude. One like it's literally a lifestyle. Like it's a habit now. It's like the day genuinely feels odd if I don't at least walk at the
Exactly.
very
Yeah.
minimum. You know?
Yeah. Speaking of walking, like I think that's a good segue. Like, how do you feel about walking? Because I think a lot of people underrate it. Because I think it's like a
Oh my
tool
god.
a lot of people can use.
Yes, slept on 1,000%. Like it's crazy because you hear these like health influencers and or yeah, I'm quotes, air quotes on the influencers part.
Exactly.
Um, and they'll be like, make sure you're drinking this amount of water and make sure you're getting 10K steps a day and all of this stuff. And I'm not gonna lie, they're on to something because the moment I started prioritizing just being outside and walking, um, even if I'm not hitting that 10K every time, trying like that goal of getting as close as possible has done so much for me. It's like meditative almost. Like, first of all, also for the music lovers, it's just a good time to like really like zen out and just listen to music and walk.
Literally,
Like,
bro. If
you
you
know,
literally like if you're trying to spin an album, like, cause there's so much music I need to get into. That's a whole nother topic. But
yeah.
like, cause my dad, his discog is crazy. But yeah, like literally, like the other week, I was just spinning just my playlist, just catching up on stuff. So yeah, you're right about that.
Uh-huh. Yeah, it kills two birds in one stone. And
Literally,
yeah, it's just a good way to get the just to feel good about moving for the
right.
day. And people don't realize like something that small makes such a huge impact. Like you don't have to go lift up the gym as your like first chance to be active. You don't have to go play basketball with some strangers or whatever. You can literally just walk outside.
Exactly. Like
Like it's all so simple.
yeah, it's literally no barrier for entry. You just go. I mean, you can even put on some slides or Crocs if you want to just make it easier and
Yeah.
just go walk around the block for 30 minutes. That's enough for most people. But I don't know. I just want to talk about walking because I think like honestly, if I didn't run, I would just hit like 10K steps, 8 to 10K, maybe even 12, and just lift 3 to 4 times a week. That would be it. Like if I didn't run, so I think it's really powerful. A lot of people just say it's not even exercise. I'm like, all right, bro. If you say so, okay. But
Yeah, I think you're like hitting it right, like the nail on the head because at least for me, when it comes down to well, hold on, let me rewind. Cause like there's something you
now you're
said that
good.
was so no, you said something so good about like the 10K subs. Oh, okay, I remember. I was gonna say it might seem kind of hard to add those steps in on your
Mm,
day-to-day basis, especially being in Houston, right? Like we
exactly.
technically don't have that like walkable city thing.
Mm,
Um, but like if push comes to shove, bro, just go up and down your staircase or walk a little bit in your house or something like that. Like I feel like there's ways to do it, or park your car further at the
exactly.
grocery store.
That's a big
You
one.
know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
honestly, like little chores like cleaning the house or walking around the store or even going to the mall. Going to the mall is a cheat code because I mean you're walking from store to store. I'm sure you're circling around. So yeah, it's just little stuff like that. Like you don't have to do like a 4 mile walk all at once. You can
Right.
do like a 30-minute walk and maybe go to the store or just do some around the house. It'll add up. I should make a podcast or like a short about that, how to get more steps in. I think I have, but I
Yeah.
need to further explain it because it's pretty straightforward, but anyway, enough about walking around. And I mean, people should do that. But anyway, we kind of talked about the day 75 hard thing a little bit. So I just want to kind of know what was your experience with that and how did that propel you to where you're currently at with your fitness journey right now?
Okay. So, like I said, that was my second time doing 75 hard, but I started 2025 doing it. So my friend and I, shout out Maddie, we run this account called Tall Girls Live. Expect posts soon. Quick little
I'm gonna
plug.
put it in the description, by
Uh,
the way. Free plug.
yeah, 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 yeah. Tap
For,
on
sh-
that. Tap on that.
for sure, for sure.
But we started 2025. We were like, dude, we really got to hop on this because she's also a former athlete. And it's like we were tired of not prioritizing health and fitness. So we started 75 hard the first time. And to quickly break down what it is, it's like you have to drink a certain amount of water a day, you have to do 2 workouts a day, you have to read like 10-ish pages and stuff. No drinking, no none of that. And if you mess up, you have to start over again. So we brought in the new year doing that. And it, I'm not gonna lie, it was intense. It was intense.
Yeah,
I was in a calorie deficit, which kudos to anyone who ever decides to cut, because that is it's just a lot going on with that.
right.
So I started the first one doing that, and I really like kind of sorted out all the different kinks and stuff on getting used to having the structure again and making those healthy choices, right? Because at the end of the day, it comes down to our choices, right? And do we want to choose the healthy one or not? Because we're going to be presented with it all the time. So once I got that first one under my belt, this second one that I started in September. So from September to now, it'll be November 14th when I'm done.
Right.
Um, that one, surprisingly, it was harder than the first.
Yeah.
It was actually harder than the first, because my mind was like, "Oh, you did this once before. You got past it. It'll be easy." Yeah, no, no, it wasn't that.
Nah, I feel
It
that.
wasn't that at all.
I feel that.
Um, yeah, like I really underestimated it again. And I realized I started trying to have these like loopholes. Like I tried to find the loophole in sticking to my diets, right? Like I would say so. Say for me, I had to hit like 2,000 calories a day. I would, instead of the first time I did 75 hard, where I was eating as clean as possible, this time I was like, well, I can go to the store. I can go get like an ice cream, granted, a low cal ice cream. And like, as long as it fits my calorie intake, that's fine, right? No, it's not fine. It's not fine because that ended up like stacking
Yeah.
onto itself, And it's like, I don't want to take the shortcut route. And luckily, I still kept it within the calorie, the limit. So I didn't break 75 hard, but it's like, if I'm going to do it, I need to do it right. So I had to quickly correct that and say, we're not taking those shortcuts. We're going to be true to this, you know?
Exactly. Yeah.
Um, so overall, having to make those adjustments and stuff, I feel a lot more accomplished with myself on this go round too, because I it's like I once again reminded myself when I put my mind to it, I can get it done.
Right.
And and even though even though I was met with different obstacles than the first time, it's like I still realize, okay, you can recover from this. Like you're good with this. Like you're really locked in, bro. Like so
Not for sure.
long winded, but that's how it went.
Nah, I mean, the biggest thing I took away from that, I liked what you said at the end. Like, basically, honestly, I think you were probably negotiating with yourself, and I think a lot of people struggle with negotiating with themselves. Like, I think of this one thing Kobe said, and he was like running on his track for his basketball training or whatever, and his knee was bothering him. Like, he wasn't debilitated, but his knee was bothering him, and he was like, I'm gonna just stop. And he was like, nah, we wrote this contract, like figuratively, obviously, but he wrote down his contract of saying, like we got to keep going. Like I wrote this contract with myself. I'm not about to break in. I think you did the same thing. Like, okay, this might seem harmless, but it can spiral into something even deeper than that that can get you off course. So I don't know. I just thought I wanted to connect it with what Kobe said. 'Cause I think of that all the time. Like I think a lot of us try and find loopholes and things that aren't cheating in our perspective because cheating is subjective. I would just say going off course. So cheating sounds bad because it's not like you're trying to kill someone, but like you're off course.
Right.
So like you're trying to say, okay, but just it's like no, you can't even do that because now you're gonna want to go even further. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. I just thought that really went with what you're saying.
Exactly. Exactly, dude. And Kobe was onto it with that mama mentality. Like it's like you said, that can really
Spiral, yeah,
compound on
yeah, and
itself.
compound, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Right. So it's like if you're gonna commit, stick to it completely. Because the moment you give yourself that loophole, it takes a life of its own. And so I appreciate you for saying that because like that's genuinely how it ended up going for me, where I had to be like, whoa, hold on. Let's refer back to my notes app that had every single rule there. And honestly, I'm like, if I'm gonna commit myself to this, I want to make sure I'm doing it the right way. Otherwise, it's pointless. You
exactly,
know,
yeah.
I'm gonna be at the end of it. Like, I'm so glad I made the adjustments. Otherwise, tomorrow on day 75, I would look back at this journey and be like, you could have done better, right? And
Exactly.
I don't want to leave anything behind.
Yeah, I
You
think the
know,
main thing, because I've referenced this before on different episodes, like it's just the feeling of knowing that you personally didn't execute on what you wanted to do and you could have. Like it's that hits deeper than if someone else tells you that. Because if it's not true, then it's like, all right, like bro, I know you're lying. Like stop lying to me. But since it's like
right?
you and you're dealing with it within yourself, it's like, all right, now it really hurts because you told yourself that. So I don't know. I just want to add that.
Exactly. No, literally, I don't have anything else to add to that because you said it perfectly. I agree with that a
Thank you,
thousand
thank you.
percent. Yeah, let them cook. Let them cook.
LOL. But last thing to kind of close this part up, just I think it's a really good talking piece. Like, why do you think that so many people in today's day and age neglect how important training and taking care of their health is, and how can we help like shift the norm of it like over time? Like, 'cause obviously we can't do it overnight, but I think it takes like people like me and other people like saying, okay, this is my experience, this is what I did, and maybe you should try it out. Like, I don't think you should force it on people. I don't think that's the way to go because it puts them off. But because I think everybody should train and take care of their health. It's obviously not, the thing I like about it is it's so different. Like someone's diet's going to be different than the other, and how they train is going to be different than the other. So anyway, before I started yapping, like, what do you think about that statement?
Okay, so just to make sure I'm answering this correctly, you're saying like, why do I think it's hard for people to start that journey?
Nah, I mean,
Or like,
like, why is it hard? Like, why do they neglect that part of their life, like health and fitness and nutrition and all that? Like, why do you think people neglect that? And like, how can we help people get closer there, if that makes sense?
oh, that's loaded.
I
That's
know,
loaded.
I know,
No, it's a great question though. And honestly, that's something I gotta talk to God about. But
real,
I think, hmm, why do I think people neglect it? Either they didn't have the foundation to begin with,
right,
potentially, right? Like I was, I feel like I was privileged to come from a family of athletes. And so because of that, health was a priority. But not everyone can afford, right? Can afford to take care of themselves in that magnitude. So I think potentially it's the foundation of shaky. Another thing is when we talk about mental health, some people don't think they're deserving of it. Some people don't think they're capable of taking care of themselves or doing all of these health related things and taking on this journey. Another route I could go with that is social comparison, going back to not thinking they're capable, right? Like they're seeing you're on social media and you're seeing this person, you're seeing your cousin run a marathon and you're like, well, I hate running, yikes, right? And you're
yeah,
constantly comparing yourself, you know. That could be another factor. Also, if you want to talk about education, there's misconceptions in the health field, I suppose, where there's just misinformation. Like I said, you have some people who think that they're influencers, and then you have real life trainers and dietitians and so on, and then you have all these different coaches, and some people don't know where to start. So it's like it can be intimidating. I know with me, even though back in the day when I played basketball, the weight room existed, but I had stepped away from it and I forgot a lot of the movements. And so it was hard for me to be like, oh, I need to get back into lifting, but I don't know if my form is correct. Or it's kind of intimidating because this is a gym filled with people that I think they're judging me and all of this stuff. And it's like you have to shut the noise out. So there's so many factors on why someone, sure, there's more I haven't even listed, but there's so many factors on why people, I think, struggle with that. Um, or say they even start the journey and they struggle to hold themselves accountable. There's so many different layers. And honestly, I wish if there was one thing that I could tell someone is that it goes back to that whatever you put your mind to, you can do that. Right. And I wish I could tell someone who wants to hop on this journey, like, bro, we all start from literally here. It's just a matter of how far you want to take it. We literally start at square zero, you know? And it's like, it's going to be awkward at the beginning. You're going to have imposter syndrome. You're going to have days you don't want to do this. You're going to realize in your journey that you thought you were doing something right and ended up being wrong. Like, that's normal. That's a part of it. But at least you're showing up for yourself. And so I would say how we can help them is to just encourage anyone, right? Like, for instance, these conversations that you and I are having, the same conversation I can have with a stranger. You know, when you spark that conversation, and you'll be surprised how quickly that it's like a trickle effect. Like, you don't realize how when you're living in your truth, you're unintentionally inspiring another person, right? And so I think if we just understand like the butterfly effect exists, you know, and maybe in that one conversation, maybe we might not motivate a person right then, right there, but who's to say they don't think about that a month later and they're like, well, that person did say I should try, you know, helping myself or doing this or whatever. I don't know. I'm saying it's a small step. Just spread that like encouragement to the people that you're around and see where it takes them, honestly.
Yeah.
Um,
Nah, for sure.
just like,
You explained it very well.
thanks, because I feel like I'm like talking in circles
Bro,
on this.
nah, listen, I'm gonna just say this on the podcast. Sometimes I feel like I'm doing that, but then when I look back, I'm like, okay, you're on to something. But when you're in it, it just sounds like, bro, what am I talking about? I'm just yapping. But nah, you explained it really good. Don't worry, no worries. I heard it completely clear. But
Okay.
just to kind of add on it, I don't want to yap on it for too long. But honestly, recently I was really grappling with this just by myself. I was like, why do I even make content? Like, why do I make the podcast every week? Why do I post these short videos? And I'm like, the main reason I said I wanted to do it is to help people. Because I feel like I want to be, because I'm not gonna act like I'm the only content creator in the world. There's so many different people, and I'm just starting out. But I think if I come on here and show, okay, here's some tips on how to eat healthier or how to grocery shop or myths on eating healthy, because like you said, there's a bunch of misinformation. Like there's so much. Like some people don't even know how to put a meal together. You know what I'm saying? Throw a meal together, which a
Mhm.
lot of people just don't know. So I think me coming on here, with me being so young, they're like, whoa, like I have a lot of time still. And this dude is doing
Yeah.
this at this young of an age. So like, bro, like I don't have an excuse, you know? So I don't know. I just think when I show people and I put it in like a unjudgmental and a very human way, I'm like, okay, I understand that you may not know all the tools, but here's some things you could do. Like, I'm not saying you have to do it because these are grown men and grown women. You ain't gotta listen to me, but
Hmm.
I'm trying to, you know what I'm saying, put myself forward and say, okay, I'm just trying to help you out. If you want to listen, cool. If you don't, that's fine. But I don't know. I just think basically what you're trying to say is it trickles down and it's not one person, it's the accumulation of multiple people and multiple shorts and multiple podcasts and multiple YouTube videos and just people word of mouth saying, okay, this is how you eat in a healthy pattern, you know, and not making it so black and white and just being like, okay, you don't have to run. You can cycle. You can ride the elliptical or whatever. You know what I'm saying you don't have to
Right.
be so rigid with it.
Yeah, because like you're saying, health looks different for everyone, and how you get that dream physique or you feel good internally, your path might look totally different than mine. I mean, I think you and I are examples of that. Um, you you take a different approach than I do, where I feel like you prioritize a lot of the cardio side of it, right? And like how much you can push your mental on this long journey across the country and stuff.
Yeah.
Like I'm saying this out of love because I wish I could. I wish I could hop in that bag. But me, I'm like I I show up in the gym where it's like, and I'm not saying you don't do that, but I know for me, one of my main things has been showing up in the gym and lifting, and it's like, how do I push my mental to realize, hey, this is just a bar, like literally, how do I trick myself into thinking, hey, you can lift this, right? How do I keep pushing? How do I get stronger and stronger with that? And so these are just things that happen with you and I, let alone, my family members, and they have their various ways of how they get their daily intake of activity and so on and so forth. And I think it really comes down to having individuals like yourself that share those experiences, right? So in a long way to answer that and go back to the original question, um, it takes us to share that. We have to share it. We have to express how our journey has been because there's, like I said, back on social media, there will be people who make it seem like it's all rainbows and sunshine on this journey. But it's like,
Yeah,
no, no, no. Can we peel back the layers? Let's talk about the thunderstorms. Let's talk about the times you almost gave up, you know? Um, or let's talk about the simpler things where it's like, these are quick recipes for me to start being healthy, right?
exactly.
I'm making a new smoothie. It's really simple. It's only 4 or 5 ingredients. Anyone can access this. I think it comes down to us to continue getting that information out there. Because even though there's misinformation, that doesn't mean that there aren't some golden nuggets out there that someone can latch on to and they can really
Exactly.
help them. You
Exactly.
know?
Yeah, because to kind of add back onto that, like I ain't gonna lie, another reason I was low-key questioning it, just being honest, was I forgot that I'm still starting out. And when you're first starting out, it's harder for people to get that information, but it's like you got to keep showing up. And I'm thinking like just a little off topic, left field, but I just wanted to add it in here because it's on what's on my mind. But it's the same thing. That's why I like training. Just speaking more from the mental side. Forget the health, benefits of it, which is important, but just consistently getting your runs in, consistently going to the gym or consistently riding your bike. Like for me, your creative endeavors was getting to later. Create my creative outlet is obviously providing content editing, 'cause I love editing personally, but I'm kind of connecting it to me running consistently. Cause I'm like, okay, I may not be seeing the progress I want now, but if I just keep showing up, it's gonna happen. Cause the same thing happened with the half marathon. Obviously, I showed up for it. So, just keeping stacking it. Cause I think a lot of people just think, oh, I'm just going for a run, so I can look good. But it's deeper than that. Like, it's you being
It's
consistent with
deeper.
something is you being consistent with something. And let's say you're going to work and you're like, oh, I don't want to go to work today. But it's like, okay, now you remember, okay, why I'm going to work. And you say, okay, I can run consistently, so why can't I work hard consistently and make the bag? You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I think of it deeper. So because for me, I was like, should I keep making content? I'm like, bro, like it's the same thing. Consistency applies to everything. It's the same thing. Just keep posting, keep getting better, and eventually you'll get what you want out of it and help more people. But I don't know. I just wanted to
Right.
end it with
No,
that.
yes, I agree. I agree. I agree 1,000%. And it's like the promises you make to yourself.
Right.
Those things, they're very transferable. They show up in so many other areas of your life. You were spot on, bro. Spot on.
Yeah, I think it's one thing I heard just to close it up because this next thing, college or whatever, but thing to close it up, how you do one thing is how you do everything. That's kind of how I think about that. I think that encapsulates what we were just talking about. But anyway, first thing, health and fitness journeys. Well, kind of talking about both of ours because I mean, obviously that's kind of both of us what we do. So had to mention that. But next thing, this college talk, and I want to kind of go into time management a bit because just coming out of high school and being in college, I've really learned how important time management is. Like I knew about it before, but I don't know. I just want to get your take on it. But let's just go into time management. I just want to see what your take is on it and like kind of how you implement that around training and just all your side quests and things you're doing right now.
Bro, you got to live and die by time management, like genuinely.
Factual information.
Okay. For me, if I, okay, how do I tie this back into college? Moral of this, ooh, it goes even further than that, actually. So, growing up a student athlete, you were your days were stacked, right? You're in class the 8 hours. You either had practice beforehand or practice after. And if you play more than one sport, you would have another practice after that, right? It started there. Move on to college. With college, you're faced with so much more free time. Um, and with free time comes temptation, right? So it's like I can fill this free time with things that relate to my goals at school, whether that's my homework, whatever assignment, whatever projects, or maybe it's getting some more training in or something like that. Or I can do it with things that are not in alignment with why I'm there. And I'm not saying don't have a social life or whatever, but I'm just saying that that window of opportunity to make those good or bad decisions increases completely. And I think with time management, that's why time management is so crucial because you want to be able to have that consistent structure so that when you are presented with that little window of the choices that I can make, right, to do whatever else, you most of the time you will already have like your T's crossed and your I's dotted. You've already taken care of that for real work that you need to do. Um, and without having that management and that structure involved, you'll be more susceptible to messing up, to failing. And so I say, like, right now with me, luckily I had a foundation, right? It started from an early age where I'm like, that's something I always need to prioritize is making sure I have that specific schedule. I'm allotting this amount of time to do this, this, and that. Because it gives me something to fall back on right now where I'm realizing I have some more free time than I would like to, you know? So now it's like I'm really extra dependent on that structure. Whether that is the night before, I'll go in my notes app. I'm gonna reference that a lot. I go in my notes app and I'll write what is my to-do list for the next day. Because the momentum starts there. What is my to-do list? And it's like, oh, okay, make sure you get your workout in. Make sure you work on this specific ad that you have to do for your internship. Make sure you apply for these jobs. And then I'll list that there. And then next day, you have to make that promise to yourself and fulfill all of those things. Otherwise, everything you won't get anything you want in
You'll be
life.
behind pretty much. Yeah, you'll be pretty
Yeah.
behind. Yeah.
And no one wants to play catch up, bro, because catch up turns into more procrastination because now you made it a bigger beast than it needed to be. And so now you feel even more weight on you. So when you do decide to go do things, you can't even do it to the best of your ability because you're thinking of stuff in the back of your head that you were supposed to prioritize. And that, once again, it goes back to that cycle, right? Where it's like these things trickle. So it's commit to what you said. Commit to what you said. I hope I'm answering what you were saying correctly.
Oh yeah, like
You know
yeah.
me, my thoughts be, I can get the tech.
Nah, listen, hey, listen. That's why it's gonna be a long episode. Don't worry. It's gonna be a lot of talking on here. But nah, I mean, I guess I'll interject with my experience with time management. I think the same way, but I do want to add in one thing that I've experienced is because I kind of realize that I'm low key trying to do a lot of things at once. Like I'm trying to do school. Obviously, I run a lot and lift. I'm not saying it's undoable. I've done it for a while, but I think one thing I want to add in, not saying, I'm saying don't do your to-do list, but I think people should be aware that sometimes the life is just gonna happen. And sometimes I think that's why, you run first. Like not well, whatever's most important to you, you get that done first. So let's say something happens in the middle of the day. Like let's say my mom's like, hey, like we got to go like this place or whatever, maybe like what I'm saying, whatever, that's already done. So when that you get hit with that, it's like, all right, I already dotted my I's or whatever, so I'm straight. So I don't know, I just want to throw that in and see what you think about that.
Yes, I stay at home. So when it comes down to dealing with external factors that can get in the way of what you promised yourself to do that day, I am no stranger to that. I agree with that 1,000%. Hence why I try to do my workouts early. No, I am not a 5 a.m. person, but I do try to make it the first thing that I do.
Not for sure.
Um,
Yeah, yeah.
because yeah, like you said, we got to be realistic here, right? Life happens. It's just a matter of how we adapt to life happening. If we use life as an excuse to not do certain things, it's like, okay, well, now we have a problem here. But
Exactly.
like extend yourself, give yourself grace, be patient with you. Um, and honestly, like as long as the intent is there and you do what you can to show up for yourself, like you're not gonna fail because that we're dealing with this all the time, with life going up and down all the time.
Exactly.
Um, but yeah, just keep hope alive, man. Because yeah, I actually you're making me think that I I fear this is going to turn us into a different part of the conversation.
Hey,
Sorry in
listen,
advance.
listen, we got time today.
Okay, something else instead of like going on with the example of like your parent wants you to do something or whatever. Something similar that has happened for me is focusing and like prioritizing your health in an environment where that's not everyone's like first priority.
Oh,
I'm saying this as
story of my life.
yeah, I'm trying to say this in a very diplomatic
Oh no, no,
way.
yeah, I got you. I got
Um,
you.
but that's a struggle, right? Because all of those options, those choices that I was talking about previously, it's like when you are around someone who that might not be their goal, it's almost as if you're presented with more of those choices, right? Because it's hey, let's go out to eat. Let's go get a pizookie at this place. And it's like, that sounds great and all, but but please, I have to say no. And it just sucks being put in that position sometimes. Um, so similar with like time management, it's also how do I say this? It's like the decision making process too, right? Um, Having to make the decision to prioritize certain things in your day to day, or having to make the decision to say, I'm presented with these two options, one that will help my goals and one that doesn't. And I have to hold on and do the right goal. Um, because bro, there's so many times when I go home and it's like there's KFC there, it's leftovers, and I'm looking at it. And I'm like, I know that that would hit right now. I can't do it. I can't do it. Please, please. Or even what you keep in the refrigerator, right? You gotta like hold the temptation to a minimum, bro. Like I don't want to. Like it's just all those decisions you do, and it all starts from when you set that intention, and you have to make sure all of the other actions in your day to day go back to that intention.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, willpower can only do so much. I think when you consistently show up and consistently, obviously, like you said, socially, if you want to go and eat dinner here and there, I think that can work in someone's life. But what you do consistently makes the mold of who you are. So I think when you consistently, stay on a more health focused way of however that looks for you, it makes you more prone to be like, all right, this is just what I do. So I'm gonna manage my time correctly and I'm gonna learn. Cause I think another thing I wanted to add too is learning how to say no. Cause I ain't gonna lie, a lot of times I've overcommitted and I'm like, I'll do this, I'll pop out here. And then when the time hits, I'm like, oh, I don't have as much time as I thought. And then I'm like,
Right.
I'm low key cooked, so like now I gotta go and I'm a little bit behind. Sometimes stuff happens like the other week, like me, Kaylee, and Kyle, if y'all know who that is, that's like my brother and sister. But like you gotta go to that for sure. But like, if it's like a little friend thing of people you don't really talk to, it's like I could probably just, you know what I'm saying, reallocate a different day for this. But I don't know, like just I think a lot of people, especially me, need to learn how to say no. I think that's a big thing.
For sure, 1,000%. And with me, it starts with ourselves, right? And something that this health fitness journey has taught me is that I keep referencing all of these decisions because it genuinely comes down to that. We're going to be presented with so many different choices in our day to day. And the choice that we make internally is, do we want to commit to certain things, or how much do we really want to full send? And so I'm like, if I myself can't fulfill a promise to myself, how do I expect others to do that? It all starts internally.
Mm,
If if
talk to
I
him.
tell myself, yeah, yeah, Queen, talk to him.
Talk
If
to
I
him.
tell myself like I am going, all right, let's talk about walking. I'm gonna go walk 30 minutes. And the time that I said I'm gonna walk 30 minutes, suddenly I'm coming up with 1,000 excuses on why not to. Okay, don't
Mhm.
be surprised when the next person you talk to in life decides to flake on you with 1,000 different excuses just because it's like, I don't know, it's almost like a karma thing, right? Like what you do internally will reflect externally. That's kind of how I see it.
Mm.
And so yeah, it's like if when you show up for yourself, then you start to radiate on the higher vibration, and in turn, you will attract the other people who are on a higher vibration. That's the frequency that you're on. So as long as if you can say yes or no in certain decisions, um, and you can prove to yourself that you're capable of making sound decisions that help your greater good, or like help you and your purpose. Okay, well, good. Pat on the back, bro, because it really starts there. And that includes saying no at times, even if other people, right? Like the decisions still apply when other people ask you to do certain things. And now this is when we discuss boundaries and knowing that it's okay to say no at times. you were saying you were being pulled in different directions. All right, well, once you set that intention of this is how I want to live my life and I want to prioritize these specific things, it'll help you say yes or no because you can always like cross reference and be like, well, does this help me achieve this? Does this help me achieve that? Does saying yes here help me with this goal and vice versa? Um, and sometimes, yeah, that's saying no to your friends who want to go to some coffee cafe sometime. Maybe you don't have the few dollars it takes to go there, or maybe you don't have the time in your schedule to do that at the time, or like um it comes back to those choices and honestly, as long as you're effectively communicating, I'm I find it hard that you would end up being the villain in that situation, you
Yeah.
know? As long as you're being transparent and you are at least explaining to your people because at the end of the day, right, community requires some sort of sacrifice. There's going to be an inconvenience, that's just the price of it, but it's knowing, hey, if this person really does care about me, they're going to respect my decision when I say no on this thing. And but it also takes you and not taking advantage of them either. It's that push and pull sort of thing. So sometimes, yeah, it's gonna be a little inconvenient. You can say yes. Sometimes it is no. It just that kind of goes into another aspect for sure. But it really, like I said, as long as you're continuously referencing back to where your values are and the things that you want to prioritize, then I think you're living in alignment and I think you're doing a good thing. Even if that includes enforcing boundaries here and there or saying no and like you don't want to spread yourself thin either. Because if you're spreading yourself thin, then you can't even fully be 100% present in the moment, and then
Facts.
you're
Yeah.
shortchanging other people. So you really have to assess yourself and know if you're grounded enough to be able to make this decision or not. Yeah.
Nah, the main two things that really grabbed out to me, because honestly, this is like I said, been the biggest thing I've had to deal with, like as an 18-year-old, and kind of for me, I want to go into kind of what you said though, but kind of for me, the biggest thing is saying no to the noise out there on the internet, because there's a lot of different takes, there's a lot of different opinions, there's a lot of different ways of life that people try and put on people on the internet, and when you're always on there, because I'm not gonna lie, we can be real. We're on the internet. Like I'm not gonna be like, oh, I'm a monk. I don't be
Right.
on there. I be on there sometimes. Sometimes there's some funny stuff on there. I want to laugh, but a lot of stuff. This is why I've made it such a big component to say, okay, y'all should probably reduce your social media consumption a bit though, because I think when you're absorbing so many people's opinions and ways of life and takes, you forget about your own. You forget about your own
Right.
values. And for me, that's the biggest thing I dealt with. We've talked about it off camera, but like for me, that conflicted on what I thought my life should look like. And I think what you said, which something I need to work on, to be honest with you. I'm glad you said it. Just honestly, because I've written down my values in a notebook before. Like I think journaling is a good thing to kind of check in with yourself. But even a notes app, you can say, okay, just for me, example. I'm gonna use me for example. Um, Three of my biggest priorities right now would probably be I put nutrition and health, like fitness, training, all that in one bracket. This isn't in any order, and I'd put school and I'd put like creative expression content. It's probably three. So if I'm getting a question like, okay, do you want to go in this group chat and clown these people? Because people do that. I'm gonna be like, yeah, no, I don't do that. And I'm saying, nah, I'm cool. And I'm saying, no, that's an easy no because that goes against my morals and values.
Right.
But if someone's like, hey, like, you trying to go in the long run? I might be like, hmm, okay, what's good with it then?
Perhaps.
Perhaps. But yeah, and going back to what you said, the two things that well, I kind of forgot the second angle. Like I just started
It's
yapping, but
okay.
the first thing, which is you said doing it to prove to yourself. And I think another thing going back to social media is when you get all these people in your hair talking about, oh, this diet is better than this, and then this is bad, and how you're doing this is bad, and I do it this way. You're like, okay, then how do I prove myself right? How do I prove to myself I'm doing this correctly for me in this point in time? So I don't know.
Right.
I just thought that really hit home for me, and I think for a lot of people, because you may not think when you're scrolling, oh, I'm not comparing, but once you keep doing it and you're not on there, like, oh, nah, I gotta go on there, and then you just go into rabbit holes and find loophole. It gets devious. I've experienced it, so I'm just trying to share my experience. But I don't know. That's just what I wanted to add there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And kind of going off of that a little bit, something that I learned when I was getting my master's, um, I learned about this theory called the third party effect. I forgot. I forgot the author, like who actually came up with it. But it's basically saying it had to do with media effects, right? So it's basically saying we're going to use social media as an example. Um, if I'm on social media, there you're consuming all of this different media and stuff. The third party effect explains that the people who think that they're not being impacted by it are still being impacted by it. So like even if your mentality is like, hey, this doesn't affect me because I have this higher level of media literacy and I'm able to understand the situation. Yeah, dude, it still does affect you. It might be at a smaller level than someone else, right? Someone with lower media literacy. But even with high media literacy, what you see on your phone, you're still digesting all of that information subconsciously, consciously, it doesn't matter. You're being impacted by it. And so I think it's so important that you come back to self in these moments and you ground yourself and you really kind of like sit and be uncomfortable trying to figure out who you are. I think it's a very crucial step because without that general compass where you can come back to being like, this is what Queen is about, you're going to easily be swayed by the gazillion different things we see on social media, right? And so with that constant comparison thing like that, that's it's like even if you think you're above it, you're still not. So you really got to be careful of what you are consuming, right? And we talk about time management. Okay, maybe I should just dedicate a maximum of 30 minutes on social media a day, right? To kind of I got my little fix, but now it's not taking over the whole day or something. Or how do I say I am still doing the same social media consumption? Well, maybe I should follow that rule where it's like 3, 2, 1, and it's like you're not on your phone within like 3 hours before you go to bed or something like that. Like there's different ways to mitigate it, but you have to know the beast that you're dealing with and understand that you think you're not susceptible to it, but you can still fall victim. And then on top of that, it's like, say you are on social media, what engagement am I doing that's boosting the algorithm? And is my algorithm helping me in return or not? Right? Because you can use it as a tool or you can use it to your detriment. And luckily for me, I it's a healthy combination of your funny, humorous things, but also I have fitness and health, and I have my cousin on there too that I'm following. So I'm using it to my advantage, right? But then there's other people who it might be feeding this negative self loop that they have going on. So it's like you also got to tread carefully on that as well. And we're not perfect. We're gonna be on social media, but it's like, how do I
Yeah.
do it in a way where once again, am I making Queen feel good, or do I feel worse when I'm on social media than I do without it? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Everything in moderation. It comes down to that.
Nah,
Really.
for real. Yeah, I think what you said about, you being like, oh, I'm too smart to get fooled. I was not trying to toot on. I'm a pretty smart guy, but hey, I got fooled bad. They did me terrible. I was like, because
Real world of
look,
AI.
look, because y'all know I made a little PSA. If you know, you know, I'm not gonna go any deeper than that. I posted a little something on Instagram. It got me because I thought, oh, like I say all this stuff. Like I'm like, oh, like reduce your social media consumption. You know what I'm saying? Don't compare yourself. Didn't work because it just kept, you know what I'm saying?
My God.
I was on there consistently, just how I consistently was running. It got me. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So, hey, I'm living proof. Like, look. it could
It
seem so
happens to the best of us.
literally, it can seem so little, but you can get really vulnerable and you can forget who you are. But then you got to shake back, like, bro,
Yeah.
like, come on, bro, like shake back. Like you can't be, you know what I'm saying, let that get under your skin. Like, you know what I'm saying, remember who you are. But kind of because we could talk about this all day. So I want to kind of go into the last thing
Yeah.
about college, just to kind of segue. Um, just three major lessons you learned after graduating college, like three take home things. You're like, okay, like this will stick with me forever.
Okay. All of my answers kind of go back to this. And I'll figure out the other two after, but the
Right.
first reason comes back to the whole setting your mind to something and accomplishing it. Um, and proving to myself again, my family instilled this in me that you can do anything you put your mind to. And that's something that I feel like when I graduated, when I did undergraduate and got did grad school, it was it was genuinely seeing that what when I actually lock in and I say I'm gonna apply myself, dude, I did exactly that. Like what?
Exactly. Simple as
So
that.
simple.
Simple as that.
Yeah, so that's one of my huge takeaways. One of my huge takeaways when it comes down to the college experience. And then moving on, potentially another thing that I took away from it is having that support system. And this support system expands not only just your family members and like your close friends, but also your professors. I realized how crucial having a support system is after I graduated, because it had it not been for those individuals who decided to invest in me and saw that I was worth being invested in, then I would not have crossed the finish line whatsoever. Like, and I can say that that transfers to everything I do that is not academically as well. It comes down to this fitness journey, even though I'd be having some haters every now and then, sprinkling a little self doubt on it and projecting. At the end of the day, I'm like, I do have people who care about my best interests. And so that has really helped me. And I think a takeaway is that it's crucial to live your life having that support system that you can fall back on. Because at the end of the day, you genuinely, as much as you want to, you can't do it by yourself. You can only control so much. Um, there are other factors at play, like genuinely. And those days when you need an extra pick me up, your support system can be right there for you. I had I had some great professors who they really got on me and they were like, no, we see the potential in you. You are more than capable to do this. And they believed in me at times I didn't do the same. Right. And now I'm in a place where I do believe in myself now. Funny how that works. I just needed a little boost, you know? So to that second takeaway is to really invest in finding the right people to center yourself with, like to surround you with, because you can't live life completely isolated, you know? It's just not feasible. That's a dark, depressing life. So be very selective in who you surround yourself with. And in this the college experience, it's even more crucial because that's the first time you are fully like really out in the world by yourself for real. Whether you go to school with a family member or not, y'all are all living individual experiences and you were quite literally thrown off the deep end. And you need somebody to catch you at the bottom of that, right? If you can't swim, bro, you need some floaties on, you know, like, so I think that's another takeaway.
Yeah.
Also, I don't even know if these are my full takeaways on it. I'm kind of fleshing it out as I talk,
Right.
but know that you are worth investing in. And
Tell
it's
him. Talk to
bro,
him. Talk to him.
like no matter how many, no matter how many times you have failed, quote unquote, failed, right? Subjective. You're still here. You were granted another couple minutes, couple hours, days, weeks, months, years to try again, bro. Don't like, and as cliches, the only time you fail is when you stop. That's it. That's literally the only time you fail. If you are still moving forward, progress is being made. And that's something that I learned when I finished school. That's something that I really had to like sit with myself and determine my own like value. I used to a little queen background. I used to determine my value based on what I did academically or what I did athletically, right? Granted, that's cool and all. It gives you a measurement of what quote unquote success is, but sometimes you really got to just understand that you bring so much more to the table than just what those achievements are. And if you once you understand that that you bring value, you need to continue doing what you can to increase your value, even if that's not something that can be measured specifically.
Mhm.
um so know that you are here, and I'm proud of you. Whether you made the wrong choice earlier this morning or not, I'm still proud of you, bro. You're here. You didn't give up, and you're still continuing to live this life thing and do your best. And you are more than capable of turning your life around. As intimidating as it might seem, um, take it literally step by step, bite sizes, right? Like that whole can't eat an elephant thing. You got to take it small bite at a time, whatever. That literally applies so much because it comes back down to that, right? It comes back to those choices, it comes back to those small things, because once you make that choice here, then that will turn into your actions and then the behavior, and like it takes, then it manifests into whatever your reality, what you want it to be, and so yeah, I'm saying you, and when I'm saying you, I'm talking to whoever decides to listen, but I'm also talking to you, Kaden, and I'm also talking to myself. We we deserve to be invested in. We deserve to do that for ourselves. Um, and I could easily make this a spiritual, religious sort of thing. I'm not going to necessarily do it in this moment, but there really is a reason we are here, you know, and we make a bigger impact than we might realize. So to all of the college students who really don't think they doing anything for real, trust me, you are. Trust me, you are. Not even just college students, but just people in our age bracket, bro.
Exactly.
The world, literally, the world has conditioned us to think that we are behind or we're not doing 1,000 things right and all of that stuff, bro. Don't listen to none of that. Run your race, even if it takes my type of slow turtle time, or you're the first one done. Like, it doesn't matter. Run your race. It's it's you. All right. You can pick who you want your battles to be with. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah,
you can easily shut that out. You can shut that out. It's just you, bro.
literally. Yeah, no, it was this thing I want to add on here to close it up. It was, do you know what Earl sweatshirt is, right?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, good, good, good. Just making sure. So, because it wouldn't hit the same if you know
I know
who Earl
ball.
is.
I know
Okay,
ball.
she knows
I
ball. We're
know
good.
ball.
We're good. We're good. But pretty much, he said this because I love his new album, Live, Laugh, Love. I think that's what it's called. And pretty much the last song is called Exhaust. And he said, at the end of the day, it's really just you whenever you think. I'm like, bro, that applies to that. It's literally just because
Was
literally
I in the studio with him?
cause I mean, obviously you want to get external analysis. We don't know everything. We'll never know everything. But if you, it's, I think what he meant by that is your values and how you see the world and what you think is important. It's just you and whatever you deem important, you know? But I don't know. I just wanted to
Yes.
throw that in there to close it out because I just think that's a good thing for everyone, like me, you, and anyone else
Mhm.
listening to think about, because it's literally just you and whatever you think is important. I'll say that'll shift over time, but if you don't have something to you that's important, no matter what it is, it's gonna be kind of hard to have a moral compass and an idea of kind of where we're going. I put kind of because we never really know, but it's giving you something to push towards, you know. But
Hmm.
I ain't gonna lie,
Bro, snaps.
appreciate, you know how to do it to him. But I was gonna go over creative outlets, but I ain't gonna lie. Zoom probably gonna cut me off, so we just gonna go to mental health. We gonna segue because this is the like really important one I want to get into. So just a major talking point I want to kind of put in here is just kind of your thoughts on how the public perception around mental health has changed drastically in the past decades. I've noticed a shift from, I mean, it was accepted when I was younger because I was born in 2007, so I'm still pretty young. But before that, you know what I'm saying, a lot of people are like kind of putting it off, you know, and I just want to kind of think, well, not think, but just see what your opinion is on that, just how the trajectories kind of shift over the years.
I think, okay, wow, you're these are some good questions.
You know how to do it, so you know.
I wish you were sitting in my, well, you'll be there one day, but sitting in those communications classes that I've taken, we had a lot of thought provoking conversations like this. But yeah, just kind of assessing the shift in public perceptions of mental health. That's what I'm answering.
Yeah, just kind of how it's changed over the years, like how people have viewed it and like took it seriously, you know?
I think it's incredibly beneficial that this is now becoming a discussed topic, right? Like all we really need to do is open the door on a lot of these things. And that's a conversation that has been placed on the back burner for a very, very, very long time, decades, right? Um, and I'm glad that it's being discussed. But I will say, sometimes I'm like, all right, bro, some of y'all getting happy with these words. Like some of y'all be using the wrong term explain something just because you want to be trendy and stuff. Sorry, that's a whole nother combo. But more to get back to it though, I'm so glad that mental health is something being discussed now because it's something that every single individual is experiencing it, whether they are in a good state, or in a state that could be improved, right? And so to have that conversation where we can even discuss on a podcast like this and talk about mental health, I feel like that's only going to help us like prevail and be better as people in general and prioritize ourselves because it at the end of the day it comes back to your mental. You can look a certain way physically, you can be in the best shape of what you think you can be in life, or you can be in the worst. But if your mental isn't there, if you don't feel good about yourself, it doesn't matter, right? It comes back to those like materialistic things. You can have so much money in the world, but if you're not happy with how you feel, it's like it could be pointless. So having these conversations where we can discuss our shared experiences is so important to me, because it just I'm glad that it's also being discussed, like publicly, especially with all the different athletes who bring it up, with football, women's basketball, all of that stuff. It needs to be discussed, bro, because people be thinking we're machines, and it's like, no, at the end of the day, we're still people, right? That's another thing. But yeah, either way, the conversations need to be had, and I'm glad that they are because back in the day, people were probably being misdiagnosed with a gazillion different things when in reality they might have just had a vitamin deficiency and that's what was causing everything. Like, so there's so many, we can save so many lives by having the conversations and by doing the research, our own personal research, and all the psychologists and so on doing their research on their own. But as long as we continue asking these questions, then we can advance as a society and do better for ourselves, and have that foundation to understand that we should show up for ourselves, that we are capable to do these thousand different things in the world, right? Like kind of full circle moment. Remember earlier I was talking about the foundation, and like some people really just didn't have that privilege, or they just didn't have the knowledge. Well, it's like, had that have been discussed in their homes, maybe it could have changed whatever their circumstances were. Or, and if it's not discussed in media, then it doesn't. Unfortunately, media kind of drives not kind of, it 100% drives all of our talking points.
Exactly.
Um,
Yeah.
and so because of that, I'm glad it's being discussed, and now it's on us to do the homework, right? And to actually, like I said, do that personal research about mental health. My answer kind of took a life of its own, but moral of the story: if your mental isn't right, then you're just not going to be right. It don't matter what you got in your reality.
Yeah. I just think, like, honestly, just put, to kind of be transparent, like, after the half marathon, I hit the goal I really wanted. And it was a thing, something I was chasing down for a long time, right? And just after, like, I mentally wasn't really there. So I was like, I didn't really feel it. I didn't really appreciate it. And I think when you're not in the right headspace, no matter how it looks for anyone, if you're just not right mentally, however that looks for anyone, you could have this shiny object in front of you, and it's like, I don't even want it. Like, obviously, I want the time. Don't take it away from me. But like, it's like, you just don't appreciate it. It's not hitting the same. It's not hitting like it should. You're not sitting
Right.
with it and being present and just being present in a moment when you're out with your people and just out doing things. So I don't know. That's just an anecdotal experience I've had. I've had that a lot this year. Like I've had, these great moments for me personally and these great things happen in my life. And it's like I don't really fully appreciate it because like I'm not fully there. But I don't know if you want to add on to that, but
Right.
that's just from
No,
experience.
no, I feel you. And the last thing you want to do is self sabotage. Like, so, and that's what it kind of sounds, that's what I thought of when you were explaining it, right? Where it's like, this is something you might have dreamt of, and it's finally here. And if your mental isn't right, you're not even going to be able to accept it for what it is. And I think that's okay. Kind of going back into college too. When I just got my master's and graduate degree, I was going through the worst time up here in my brain, to the point where I was just kind of in autopilot. And don't get me wrong, I still applied myself, but it took so much more um, effort for me to do so because I had so much noise going on in my head and stuff. And so when I walked the stage, I remember I didn't even fully feel that relief that I thought I would, or that sense of accomplishment. And it's because at the time I didn't really feel like I had, how do I maybe deserve the accolades at the time, right?
That's a
It,
big thing. That's a big thing.
yeah. And it wasn't until months later when I kind of like took a step back, because what I realized, it's not that I didn't deserve it. It's not that I didn't actually feel that. It's more like I had allowed so many outside voices to put their own opinions on that accomplishment that I kind of tuned into that instead of how I felt myself. So when I finally took that step back and I looked at it for what it was, and I reflected on literally the blood, sweat, and tears that I put in to finishing my master's thesis and defend that thing, and all of the late nights and hard work and effort that I put into it, then I was like, wait a minute, bro, I did that. Like I
Literally.
was fired. And I finally got to enjoy it for what it was, but it all took some centering up here in my mental state of being where I was like, wait, you deserve to be celebrated, you know? You don't always have to think about what you have to do next. Sometimes you can genuinely be here and be present and soak in the moment, you know? And so I think it's kind of that like form of self-sabotage when you're listening to so many other things. It's like, no, bro, you had that in you the whole time. It was just a matter of you coming back to self and recognizing it within yourself. And again, that mental aspect. And that's my, I guess, anecdotal experience with it as well.
Yeah.
And that's even something I'm learning right now on this fitness journey. I'm I'm looking and I'm saying the word like imposter syndrome. And I'm thinking of so many things that I need to do better at. And sometimes I just need to sit there and appreciate how far I've come, because I'm already doing better than past me by continuing to move forward and show up for myself.
I think honestly from experience, I don't know if people can relate. You probably can, but I just think it's really you versus you. Like kind of going back to the Earl thing, saying it's whatever, it's really you and whatever you think or whatever, that little bar in the song. Like obviously you have loved ones and people you socialize with and people you interact with on a daily basis, but I think a lot of times for me personally, I've self-sabotaged. I've been like, it's going so good and I'm overthinking it. I'm like, wait, hold on. So, like, cause I don't know, for me, I think it's like for a lot of us, it's different versions of ourselves in our head. So it's like, okay,
Yeah.
like let's say Caden 1 is like rational, you know what I'm saying? He's, doing his thing. K2, like, wait, hold on. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, let me come up and mess this up real quick. You know what I'm saying? So I just think it's really us versus us, like in terms of like, it's people comparing their running times or their progress, you know what I'm saying? I mean, that's cool. Obviously, you can kind of gauge, okay, where you're at in some respect, but I think you really can, like you said, like you're saying, okay, I'm doing better than past Queen. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, let's see we think we should focus more on how we're doing better in terms of 13-year-old us and now we're 19. Okay, where are we at now? And I'm saying, what would younger Kate or younger Queen think about what we're doing? I'm saying, and how have our morals and values changed? Obviously, you don't want to be self-centered, but just focusing on yourself. Because I feel like I've said this over and over again. If you can't focus on yourself and make sure you're okay, you can't make sure that other people around you are okay, So,
Right.
you know,
Right. Yeah,
but
I know.
yeah, but just closing points. 'Cause I feel like, bro, we could make this 3 hours if we wanted to. Honestly, one day
Really
we
good.
might have to. I'm gonna get Zoom Premium. We're gonna make it happen, so don't worry. But just
There's a whole lot of editing.
not really. I mean, it's what I'm saying. We good. We said a lot of cool stuff on here, but just two things. First thing, obviously, where can people connect to you on socials? Because trying to get the promo, and I'm saying put
Oh
people. I'll put it in the description too. Don't worry.
yeah. So my personal Instagram is at kw.eeeen. It's four E's. You can follow me on Instagram with that tag. You can also follow me on TikTok with that tag. Those are really the main two. But again, I plugged it earlier. I'm gonna plug it now. I have an Instagram account called Tall Girls Lift. Exactly what it sounds like. TALLGIRLSLIFT. Tall Girls Lift. And my friend and I, she's up there in Chicago. We're dedicating our platform to discuss our own health journeys and kind of like speak to the tall girl demographic, right? Because that's something that isn't I see all these health gym influencers and whatnot, and they're like 5'1".
Yeah, yeah.
For reference, I'm 6'1", and so the form on them is going to look totally different than my form, and so just kind of expect more content on that soon. So yeah, definitely follow. We follow back. We're cool.
Swag. Yeah, go follow them, go show some love. But just last thing, I always ask people who come on here just anything else you want to leave the people with, like any maybe quotes you've heard recently or any experiences that maybe you want to share, just anything in general you want to leave the people with.
Talked so much, but to say the last thing, you genuinely do have the power to create your own reality, and that's something that I'm remembering right now. Um, it really does come back to your mental disposition, and life is going to happen regardless. But again, it's how you adapt to it, it's how you decide to digest it, and it's how you decide to act on it. The rain is gonna come, but am I gonna prepare and grab an umbrella, or I'm just gonna get soaked? You know what I mean? So and I say all of that. I'm not saying that you are 1,000% your experiences, right? Like I'm not saying if you have so many bad things happening in your life that you deserve that. I'm not saying that. I'm simply saying you can life is going to happen, but you can decide how much you're going to let it impact you by your perception of it. And so yeah, you can literally touch anything and make it turn to gold if you really decide to lock in and say, you know what, I attract this positive abundance I'm capable of anything I put my mind to. You can get it done, and that's what I believe with the people.
For sure. Well, that's all we got. That's all she wrote for today. So thank you, Queen, for hopping on. I texted her a couple of days like, hey, like, bro, I need you to hop on. So, she's with the quickness, like, hey, I got you. So I appreciate you spreading your wisdom
Bro,
and
yes, you're my guy.
not for sure, twin right here. So I appreciate you spreading your wisdom, taking the time out of your day to hop on with me. But yeah, that was the episode. Hopefully y'all enjoyed, and I'm gonna see y'all next week.